Evening, boys and girls. I'm sorry it took so long for me to do another video. I've been super busy lately with just work and writing and stuff like that. I was able to get excuse me. I've been able to get out I've been able to finish a book and get out a couple of volumes of my original novel, The House of Grey. So that was pretty cool. So I thought I'd take a few minutes to do a follow-up on the original genre writing video that I did. And I wanted to divide them further to try to clarify main genres and subgenres. And I don't necessarily think you should scratch that, but this is something else I'd like to propose. I think that you should, another way to think about genres are scene genres versus item genres. So I talked about a main genre being fantasy and science fiction. Fantasy and science fiction and historical are all what I would call setting dramas. Genres. Setting genres are just that. Steampunk would be another example. Setting genres revolve around a specific, just like I said, setting. So in the case of fantasy, it would be your made-up world. In the case of science fiction, it would be your planet or whatever. A dystopic setting could also be one. Hunger Games has got a dystopic feel. Post in the United States, post-apocalyptic. Marie Lou's is dystopic, again, post-apocalyptic, post-United States. Harmonics, Rise of the Magician, one of the books that I wrote, it's science fiction / dystopic, so it's got two sort of setting fantasies, but it's got some of these other item genres. Now, item genres, I would say, are more along the lines of romance, comedy, suspense, thriller. What else would be horror, maybe? And what it is these are specific conflict elements or plot elements that you're putting into the book to make it whatever it is. So horror, it's got to be scary. You want an example of a great horror writer? Go to Scott Sigler, who, Earthcore. Earthcore is got both a scene and a scene / setting and a line item or element genre writing. So he takes horror, but in a science fiction sort of setting. So that might be easier to visualize and to focus on your writing, and to visualize what it is you want to do with it. I write a lot of scene or setting based books. To stop my science fiction / dystopic books, Rise of the Magician and The House of Grey, is fantasy. But it's not in a different world. It's more of a modern fantasy, but it has those elements of magic in them. If it's not a fictional world, then the magic elements are really what makes it a fantasy. Romance is an element genre. So that might help. But when you're sitting down to write a story and what kind of story you want to write, to think. It's always a good practice to run through and think, what is the setting that I want here? Is it going to be in, an alternative timeline of 19th century London? Or is it going to be in a completely made-up world? Is it here? Is it in our normal world, right? If it's a normal world, I don't think it's a setting. It's a setting book, because the setting is less important. It's more about the element genre. So romance is a big one with that. Chick lit is a big one with that. So, when you're sitting down to write your outline, because we always want to write outlines for our books, make sure you take a look at your setting and your element genres. Maybe pick one, pick two. That might help you to focus your outline and focus your writing. So when you're sitting down to actually do it, you have exactly the type of story that you want in mind. I just wanted to do that quick follow-up. Collin Earl, thanks for watching. Questions, concerns, points of interest, leave me a comment. Send me an email. Hopefully I'll hear from someone. What do you think? What's your opinion on genre writing? How do you like to separate them? Am I full of crap? Let me know. My books are available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Harmonics, Rise of the Magician is a dystopic science fiction, post-apocalyptic, about two superpowers, the Jade Empire and the United Western Collective. Pretty cool. And it's a young adult. It's got some young adult elements to it. I also have The House of Grey, which is a modern fantasy thriller, which doesn't really mean anything. But it's a modern fantasy. Kind of got some Harry Potter type elements to it. Yeah, but it's a lot more action packed. It's long. It started out on an original audio fiction. Those are both on Barnes & Noble. Those are both on Amazon. Look them up or look me up at collinearl.com. Thanks a lot.